Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Our webinar is about to start. Today's webinar is going to be on straightforward IFTA reporting generation, entering your business details, and IFTA data using QuickEntries. I am your host, Christy Camp. I have been with TruckLogics for a little over a year. I am passionate about our drivers using a TMS to better help support their business. Today's webinar, we are starting a brand new series for IFTA deadline. This month is all about IFTA. Today we're going to do IFTA generation using the QuickEntries method. We're going to learn how to enter your business details, enter your IFTA details, and enter your IFTA data using the QuickEntry method. And as always, we're going to have a small Q&A at the end so that if you have any questions related to this webinar, you can type those in our Q&A. If you have support related questions, we do ask that you contact us after the webinar for those support related questions. We have a full team ready and able here in Rock Hill, South Carolina to assist you. So let's get started with our live demonstration. I'm going to pause my screen for a second to switch over to our live demo account, so just hang tight. So as you see here, this is your dashboard for your TruckLogics account. If you are our preferred or premium level, you will see all of these modules, which will include IFTA. IFTA is not available with Pro, so you would need to upgrade to those preferred and premium levels to get that module. Today, we're going to focus on where to enter your business details. When you first begin with your TruckLogics subscription, you enter your business details to get registered. So you'll go to your settings and you're going to enter your business details as you see here on the screen. The asterisk fields are required. If you have an EIN number, you would enter that, and then you would update those details with your contact name, your email, your address, phone number, and you're going to save those. The system will automatically pull that information for your IFTA module over to your IFTA details. When you first sign into your IFTA module, you're going to be presented with, are you a US company or a Canada company? So we're US, and we're going to change this to United States. We're going to change our base jurisdiction. Your base jurisdiction is where your business is located, where you run from, where your business address is. If you have your IFTA account number, you're going to be required to enter it here. If you do not have an IFTA account number, you're going to have to contact your local jurisdiction to get that, to apply for an IFTA account number. It is based on your local jurisdiction, so it depends on where you're located as to how they issue that IFTA number. Sometimes there's a fee involved, sometimes there isn't. Here you'll also see your customer number and a license number. If you have those and those are related to your business, you can enter those here, but as you see, it's not starred with an asterisk. It's not required. For our US people, we have gallons and miles. And for our Canadian and Mexican clients, we have liters and kilometers. Here, this is a perform a state adjacency check. This is a tool within TruckLogics to help you keep the continuity of your states that you're traveling through. You can't get to Tennessee from South Carolina without driving through North Carolina. So if those states aren't touching and you have this checked, the system will show you. If you don't want that warning, you can uncheck it in your system. And here we have your sign-in authority. So today we're just going to do Walter. He's our sign-in authority, and he is the owner of our company. And his phone number is 803 for South Carolina, 555-5555. And then of course his email address, which is not required, but you can enter it. So we'll just put our webinar at TruckLogics.com. And then of course, if you have a fax number, you can enter that as well and save your data. Then you're going to be presented with your IFTA dashboard. And again, at any time here, you can edit your business details by clicking edit, or if you've forgotten a number off of your IFTA case number, you can edit that. And then of course, you're going to manage your trucks here. If you've already got your trucks in your truck zone in your full TMS, the system will automatically pull it from here. If not, and you need to add, the system will redirect you to the truck zone so that you can either import your trucks from Motive or add a new, or use an, you can also export those to Excel for your record keeping. So let's go back to our IFTA module, and you will see that our truck is here. Since this is the starting of, or the due month for the second quarter, you're going to get started for your second quarter. You will need to select the truck that you're going to file for. Several of you will have multiple trucks, and if you have 5, 6, 10, 100, there's an automatic button over here that will select those here for all. It'll just select all, and then you can click next. So for today's demonstration, we're going to worry about how to enter your information using the QuickEntries method. So you may be presented with a pop-up that looks like this, to pull from TruckLogics or Motive, to bulk upload using our template, or to use our QuickEntries method, which we're going to use that today and focus on it. But don't worry, we're going to cover those other two options this month. Like I said, July is all about IFTA. So let's continue. And then here under the action, we've made a couple of updates recently. And if you are a existing client, you may have noticed that the orange QE has now been changed to enter data. But if you hover over, it will still say QuickEntries. So we're going to click on QuickEntries. Here you will be presented with a trip sheet. Clients can do it on a day-by-day basis. However detailed you're wanting to enter your information, it can be as minute as several trips in one day. So if you need April 1st 5 times, you would just click the positive sign for 5 trips on April 1st or whichever date that is. You also have each month in the quarter, and you have the option to enter your data. Let's say you only have your odometer readings for your states. You can enter your beginning and ending odometer, and our system will calculate the distance for you. Or in our case today, we're going to use the distance option. We know our grand totals for each state that we drove through, so we're just going to enter those totals. And again, you can be as detailed as you want based on your trips, or as generalized as you want. You can use grand totals. IFTA is only concerned with your grand totals for your fuel, your grand totals for your distance in each state driven. So on April 1st, we started out in South Carolina. And we drove on April 1st 100 miles. And we only bought 20 gallons of fuel. Well, we also went to North Carolina on April 1st, and we drove 150 miles. And we bought another $30 in gallons in fuel. We didn't drive on the 2nd or the 3rd, but we drove on the 10th. So we'll go down to the 10th, and we will enter Georgia. So Georgia, we also drove 200 miles that day, and we bought another $20 or 20 gallons of fuel. These numbers are general. They're not to reflect accurate data. You cannot use decimal points. So if it's greater than 0.5, round up. If it's lower than 0.5, you're going to round down for those fuel and distance. And you're going to continue through each day that you have. If you do not have the whole month, and this is it for April, you'll simply click back up here. You're going to click to May. And again, all changes were saved. And okay, so we're not a very busy, we just delivered toys, so we're not very busy right now. So we delivered on May 2nd. We were back in South Carolina. And you're going to enter that grand total again of however many miles you drove. It could be 1,500 miles. And we bought 150 gallons. We're going to continue on for Georgia or whichever state that you select. We drove 200 miles in that state. And then we purchased another 20 gallons. And then you're going to continue on through each day that you have. You do not have to do each day. You can do a grand total. So if you went through South Carolina 10 times that month, you can put all of them on May 1st in South Carolina for that total. Or you can do a day-by-day trip. It is entirely up to you. So this is all we have for May. Now we're going to click to June. And June 5th, we drove in South Carolina. On the 5th, we drove 250 miles. And we bought 25 gallons of fuel. June 6th, we went. It gives you this easy option of which state borders you so that it's easy to get the next state that you drove through. So this time we drove through North Carolina, and we're going to do 300 gallons of fuel at 300 distance, excuse me, and 30 gallons of fuel. And then we went to Tennessee. We drove 300 miles again, 40 gallons of fuel. And at today's prices, I know 40 gallons is a steal. That's still like $200 worth in gas, but that's crazy. And then you're going to continue on to your next state. Let's do Kentucky, 400 miles, and then we bought 50 gallons of fuel. So if you need to go back, you forgot in April that you went to another state, you can go back, find the date that you went. So on April 5th, we forgot that we drove in Arizona or Arkansas for 500 miles. So we can go back on that date, add it, and add our fuel here as well. This is all before you click through the form. So you're going to scroll through your trip dates, see that you've added everything, click through May, make sure that all your entries are there. And as you can see, here are our South Carolina and our Georgia. And then for June, you can see all of our states, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, and all of our fuel entries. So once you're satisfied that all of your entries have been quick entered with manual method, you'll click continue, and all your trip details are updated and saved successfully. You then are given an overview page so that you're saying your fuel and your distance for second quarter 2023. And normally your GPA should be around 10, so we're doing very well. We did 9.6. You can click the expand button and see a grand total of the states that you drove through. And you see, because we're based in South Carolina, all 3 of our months in our quarter are grand totaled here, just for a quick review. If you find here that you still forgot one state, you can now click Enter Data. I forgot a state in June, so I'm going to click the June month, and I'm going to go back to the date that I forgot, and I forgot that we drove through Ohio for 2 minutes. No, I know it's not really 2 minutes, but we drove 150 miles, and we bought 30 gallons of fuel in Ohio. So once we've had that update, then we're going to scroll back down and continue through again to review everything. This is going to give us our preview once more. We can expand that, and now we see where Ohio has been added. And once you're satisfied with your IFTA and that you've typed all your entries in, you're going to click Next. It gives you once again to review. You'll click Next, and then you're going to be presented with a couple of questions. No operation. No operation only applies if you have not driven any miles and purchased any fuel in the quarter that you're filing for. IFTA states that if you have an IFTA account, you're required to file an IFTA even if you have 0 miles. So if you had 0 miles, then you're going to change this question to yes, this is a 0 form. If this is an amended form for your local jurisdiction, you previously had filed it, and you, even after all this double checking, you forgot something, or you accidentally mistyped, anything that needs amended or corrected, you can go back into the system, modify the return, and then you're going to let your jurisdiction know that this is a modified return. Final report. This means this is your final report to IFTA, your base jurisdiction, and you are choosing this option and will cancel your IFTA account. So please, please be careful and read these questions. If you're not wanting to cancel your IFTA account, make sure that it is no. Once you're satisfied with all your answers, you're going to save and continue. You're then presented with either your tax due or your credit. Your credit amount would have appeared in parentheses. If you had a credit amount from a previous quarter, you could enter it here, and it will reduce your tax due. Since we didn't have a credit, we're going to continue to next. Once more, it will give you a summary. It's telling you what company you're filing for, all your IFTA jurisdiction, and if you at any point you think, oh, I mistyped my zip code, it should have been 29730 instead of 29732, you're given this quick edit option. You can go here and edit, but then you would have to click back through your form, review everything. So once we're agreed on all of our distance, see, here's the fuel tax summary. It only cares about your grand totals. It will present you once again with your tax due, any late fees or penalties, interest due. Since we're filing on time, we're not going to have those this quarter. And then you can simply press next. Our system checks for common errors, meaning any blank spaces. So once you are comfortable, you will click next, and then you will see with the full TMS, your IFTA your full TMS of preferred and premium packages. Your IFTA generation is included in your monthly subscription or your annual subscription if you've paid annually. And then you'll be able to download your PDF. Most jurisdictions require you to go to their IFTA website and plug in the information on the IFTA website so that you can, quote, pay your IFTA tax. Our software calculates that tax due, so all that you need to do is plug in those numbers and pay your tax, and you're good. So once you can download this. and print it off. You can even mail it in if your state allows for your IFTA to be mailed in. And the nice thing about our software as well is that every quarter our IFTA rates are updated by IFTA.org. We update those, make sure that they're updated. We alert you if there's a split rate. This quarter there was not a split rate. Split rate meaning April and May was one rate, June was another rate, or part of June was one rate. If that is the case, our system is automatically updated with those rates. That's why it's kind of important to make sure that you're putting your miles and your fuel in the appropriate months in case of a split rate. But if you want to, you still can just enter a grand total for each one of the states for your fuel and your distance under 1 month. It is completely up to you. So now that you've downloaded your IFTA and you're finished, you can click back to your dashboard, and it shows you that you filed your return on you generated your return on July 6th, what time you generated your form. If you need to view your form again, it presents you so that you can download it again. And as earlier as I spoke, if you find that there was a mistake on your IFTA, you can click this modified return and it'll take you back through the process to enter that data so that you can make sure that you amend your return correctly. So that is a quick overview of how TruckLogics allows you to quick entry data entry method. We do have an IFTA only option, and the quick entry method is the same in our IFTA only account. So if you would just hold right there for me, I'm going to pause my screen. And at this time, if you have any questions about today's webinar, you can type them in your Q&A box, and I will try to answer those. And again, like I said, this whole month is based on IFTA. So this is not going to be our only IFTA webinar. We're going to do a whole series. Mark, let's see. If you need to amend, is there a second charge? Okay, Mark, no, there is not a second charge for your amendments. If you filed it with, or if you generated the form with TruckLogics, you'll simply go back into your TruckLogics account, click that modified button I showed you, make the corrections, and download your new form. There is not a charge because with the full TMS, your IFTA module is included with your monthly subscription. If you filed your IFTA with our own IFTA only module and you pay $24.95 for that IFTA, you can modify it at no charge. It will just be free. That was a great question, Mark. Thank you. Is there anything else? Okay, so someone has asked, what if I have miles driven in a state, but I didn't purchase any fuel in that state? Do I still need to list the state on my IFTA report? Absolutely. If you didn't purchase fuel in that state, be prepared to have a higher IFTA tax due. That's why IFTA has required you to purchase fuel in every state that you drive through. So if you have miles, you're required to file an IFTA. If you have an IFTA account, you're required to file an IFTA. So yes, if you have miles driven in a state, but you didn't purchase fuel, you'll put your miles and then you'll put 0 for the fuel. Very good question. Okay, so there's another question. Will TruckLogics sync with a GPS? When you say GPS, are you meaning your Motive account? If you have a Motive account, and we will have another webinar on how to integrate with Motive, you can pull your miles and fuel from your Motive account, but it's not going to, we don't sync with a GPS app at this time. That was for Michael. No, for a Garmin, no, sir. No, Michael, we don't. At this time, the only ELD that we integrate with is Motive. We are working with Samsara to get them on board and integrated, but we'll make an announcement when that is completed. Okay, we don't have any more questions at this time. You're welcome, Michael. So like I said, the whole month of July is going to be IFTA related. Our next webinar, sorry about that, guys. Our next webinar is July 13th at 4 p.m. It's going to be on streamline your IFTA data, explore TruckLogics bulk upload feature, and the different types of IFTA returns. And go ahead and get signed up for those. When we email out the registration, you're going to get a copy of today's webinar. So go ahead and get signed up for the next webinar. Even if you can't attend, we'll email you a copy of it. So that way you'll have it. And here's our schedule for the whole month of July. And as I said, it is based on our IFTA webinar series. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and head on over to TruckLogics.com. Get signed up for your free 15-day trial. Use Christy10 and you'll get 10% off your first month's purchase. And also, don't forget about your 2290s with our sister product, Express Truck Tax. We are now filing 23-24 tax year. That is, the tax payment is due by August 31st, so head on over there. And of course, if you have any questions about today's webinar or any support related questions or how to get started, just go ahead and reach out to us. Our phone number is 704-234-6946. You can shoot us an email at support@trucklogics.com. And as always, follow us on all of our socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, our YouTube channel. So that is today's webinar, and I greatly appreciate everyone who attended and hope to see you soon. Thanks, guys.